Napa know-how.
At Napa, you don't need to be a magician to pull 20% savings out of thin air. All you need is a bucket. Yep, you can magically save on 3 or more items with a $2.99 Napa bucket. So use whatever magical catchphrase you want, like Abraca Bucket, or Alica Savings, or Bippity Boppity Bucket, and save 20% today. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Tap the banner to learn more about Napa. At participating locations, exclusions apply. May not be combined with other offers. Offer ends 4/30/21.
Today, Freedom Watch resumed its citizens' grand juries, our 5th session, seeking to hold Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and James Biden accountable for a massive bribery scheme from Communist China, Russia, and Ukraine. In addition, we presented evidence with regard to sedition, that is treason, of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Maxine Waters, inciting violence, pitting black against white, white against black, others against everyone for their own political purposes, destroying and harming this country. I want you to tune in. You can find it at freedomwatchusa.org if you weren't able to see it live. It'll be up on our website shortly. And every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, we have another session of our citizens' grand juries because, as I talk about in my book, it takes a revolution. Forget the scandal industry. We must take our legal system back, hold the elite, the corrupt, and otherwise criminal accountable for their actions. You know, it was interesting watching Joe Biden's so-called speech and Kamala Harris's so-called speech after the Derek Chauvin verdict to talk about no one being above the law, but there's no one more above the law as they see it than those two criminals. And we will be holding them accountable as well for what happened. Today, we also presented evidence with regard to Mitch McConnell, the criminally minded and criminal minority leader of the U.S. Senate, and his involvement with his wife, Elaine Chao, and the Communist Chinese, doing almost exactly what Joe Biden did with Hunter Biden, laundering money into the family's accounts for profit, selling their office. It's not just a Democrat problem, it's a Republican problem. It's a problem throughout the cesspool of Washington, D.C. and our state capitals. People selling their office for profit. So I urge you to watch what's going on. It's nonpartisan, and we hold everyone accountable. Now, there are very few brave people in this world anymore, particularly white people who are running for the exits, putting their heads down, major corporations, labor unions, sports leagues in particular, and others in society. I've written a column, you know what it's about. I've talked about it before. Biden, Harris, and the Fourth Reich. It's exactly what happened in the days and years and months leading up to the rise of Adolf Hitler, kept him in power. It was the industrialists in Germany, BMW, Mercedes, Lights, Deutsche Bank, that financed the concentration camps, that perpetuated what happened there, National Socialism, and Hitler, and the Holocaust. Well, we are entering into our own type of Holocaust because this incitement of violence, claiming that all white people are racist, that we're born with a racist gene, systematic racism, everything that you can possibly imagine, is that white people have become the equivalent, the scapegoats like the Jews of Germany. And the left is using this to seize power for these radicals. And most of the people in these groups are good people, but they're using the radicals to do it. Well, there's one person who actually has stood up in the last few days, and that's Brett Favre. Unbelievable. Former quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Someone who said that he doesn't think that what happened in Minneapolis with George Floyd was intentional. It may have been negligent homicide, but it's certainly, there's no evidence to show that there was a racial motivation here. In fact, the two of them, Floyd and Chauvin, apparently worked together, maybe in some club or whatever the case may be. They probably had a certain animus towards each other that transcended race. But none of that ever comes out. And instead, you have these politicians and others pushing to create a conflict between the races, and people got hurt, and they're going to be hurt. And that is criminal in nature. And the police departments now are being trashed. Even the policeman in Columbus, Ohio, that killed a girl that was ready to stab another girl to death. Even Fox News puts up as its Chiron, another black man killed by a policeman. It's unbelievable. So the group that I founded with Sheriff Joe Arpaio and Demetri Penny, my brave African-American police officer client from Dallas who sued Farrakhan and Sharpton and the rest. And of course, they're in on what went on in the Floyd case. We are cranking that group up. It's been there, but we need to do what we can to protect good police and to make sure that the federal government, this evil federal government, does not take over our police departments. Go to americascheriff.org, americascheriff.org, and support what we're doing. And of course, I have my case, Freedom Watch, that we brought for 8 Philadelphia cops who were fired along with hundreds of others just simply for reposting Facebook postings, not even told what was allegedly racist about it. It was nothing racist about them. But it's a jihad now against the police department. You've got Rashida Tlaib, you're refiling a case for Laura Loomer against her for assault, this vile Muslim congresswoman who says we don't need police. Nobody should be incarcerated. Of course not. She's got terrorist ties. Terrorists don't want to have any kind of pushback. This is what we're dealing with. So rise up, fellow Americans. The country's on its back. It's on life support. As I write in my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. We have no justice system. We have corrupt judges on the federal bench that have been corrupted, getting there through political patronage, campaign contributions, sometimes out and out bribes. This is why we, the American people, must rise up. So get my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. Read it carefully. Read the Declaration of Independence. These are the times that try men's souls. It's not the time for summer soldiers or sunshine patriots. Like our founding fathers, we must risk all. And on July 4th weekend of this year, I've changed the date so it's more symbolic. Gives us more time to organize too. We will have our third Continental Congress in Philadelphia at the Visitor Center, across from Independence Hall, and we will form a new nation by and for the people, a new government by and for the people, not a new nation, but a new government, taking away immunity from government officials and federal judges, taking away the lack of any recourse when there's discrimination on the basis of political ideology and belief, such as occurs with big tech. Changing things in a positive way to get elections that actually aren't the result of fraud, but actual people who are duly elected, who are our representatives, with a better means to remove them when they're not, remove them peacefully and legally. And coming up with a justice system that doesn't represent the rich and powerful and those who think they're above the law, the nobility in this country, on both sides of the political aisle. And discussing a new political party, the New American Independence Party, which I'm forming independent of Freedom Watch and America's Sheriff, because we need a new political party. The Republican Party does not represent conservatives, people of faith, or those who believe in the Constitution. They represent themselves. Getting back to Mitch McConnell and Karl Rove, they are the face of this Republican Party, corrupt to the core. So this is what we face, fellow patriots. You're no sunshine soldiers, you're no summer patriots. We will rise up and we will save this country with the divine providence of the Father and the Son, just like our founding fathers did in 1776. That's my message for today. Stay tuned for another edition of Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Listen to my weekly radio show with Sheriff Joe Arpaio this weekend at freedomwatchusa.org and radioamerica.com. I thank Radio America, for letting me tell the truth as I see it. And of course, on my website, you'll see it as well. And crowdsource the truth. Crowdsourcethetruth.com of Jason Goodman, who televises our citizens' grand juries. I want to thank him too. He is very courageous. God bless you. God bless your family. Stay safe. I'll be back Monday with another podcast, The Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Thank you for listening to me.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like Taylor Swift choosing what to wear.
It's looking kind of chilly out today. I think I'll go with a cardigan.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC. Capital One